leadership doesn't expose others. It exposes you. And the higher you go, the more honest the reflection gets. So like I think the higher you move up, the higher you climb the ladder, the more you see yourself. And you see many versions of yourself. Taking on the supervisor role here recently and being the person that has to delegate and in a way responsible of other people, you get to see like shades and faces of yourself. And it brings a level of transparency. Like I feel for that. So if you don't know how to deal with that, then you become a person that's torn on doing your job and trying to be that cool supervisor, the person that doesn't care, but you have to care because this is the road that you took on. So it's a different level of responsibility. You can't try to appease to the people once you become the nobility. Everything they can't know everything. They're not allowed to know everything. That's why there is a nobility. You just have to not continue to be corrupt. Like you have to avoid the corruption. But once you become responsible, you see how much of yourself is in the people. And you can't save everybody. Like everyone can't have this position. It comes to a point where you begin to choose what side you really want to be on. Like most people avoid the supervisor position. Most people avoid the responsibility, and that goes back to what I was saying as far as not growing up and wanting to stay a kid. Like you see the team members that they don't have to take the job home with them, but as a supervisor, you definitely do. Definitely. You eat, sleep, and breathe this position, this job, and like the delegation of telling someone what to do and how it's supposed to be done. But like the higher you climb, you see more and more of yourself that you're changing. And you took this job because you're equipped, so you know how to deal with it. But it's up to you are you gonna feel too much, or are you gonna do what's necessary? And that's when you make sacrifices. Everyone's not doing what they're supposed to do.
I was gonna say like when you asked me that question earlier, I was like, it usually be the people who are going to be the best supervisors that usually shy away from the supervisor role. Like, and it ties into my question about like the spirituality aspect of it. Like, it take a lot of shadow work to be a supervisor.
It does.
Like, we call it shadow work, you call it spiritual work, whatever you may give it to. But like, it takes a lot to kind of like, for one, to not lead people. You not necessarily have to lead people, but you have to know that like there is no difference between a supervisor and a regular team member. Although yes, on paper and policy, it gives you the right to delegate work, but like you gotta know like that thin line between. I done heard supervisors at work be like, I'd rather be one of you guys, but since I've been here so long, it made sense from my experience. And I think experience is another word for spiritual. It's another word for spiritualism, or the spiritual tool, I would say. But like it took he been here so long to where like if you're not a supervisor, you basically are choosing something else. Like not even about the job. Like you basically are declining. Like
you made yourself disposable.
It's facts, very disposable, and it's almost like to where you're not even growing as a person once you have spent so much time doing something to not move up in it, whether you like it or not. Like it makes sense, whether it's your choice or not your choice. But I would definitely give it to most people who don't. The people who supposed to be supervisors don't choose to be supervisors.
So, if you choosing to just get by to never take the manager, supervisor role, is that self betrayal? Like, are you betraying yourself because you don't want to take these roles, especially when they're presented to you?
I think it's a way of you not trusting yourself or being light in the ass, like about some shit. Like I ain't gonna lie, because at a certain point you gotta go legit. That's the whole point of adulting. You can say, like, everybody used to say something about that, but like, you gotta go legit sometime. Whether it's embarrassing, humiliating, uncomfortable.
Yeah, you gotta learn to be articulate. You gotta learn to be proper. You gotta learn grammar. You gotta learn to be a gentleman. You gotta learn etiquette. You have to learn the things that allows you to communicate to the world and not just your environment.
Facts. Not just your environment. And it takes a lot to know how to deal with people. Like, and I think that's crazy. You just asked that question. Like, relationships are failing. A lot of reason why I think love. I'm gonna say love works. Relationships don't work. Like, a lot of reason why it don't work in the aspect because like people don't know how to take on responsibility. Like, in relationships, all it is a responsibility. It's easy to love somebody, but it's hard to be responsible with somebody. Like, and I think that's the reason why a lot of people don't really give it to like supervisor roles, manager roles, because everybody think this and that about it. But a lot of us are afraid of embarrassment. Commitment. Like, so yes, that is our
shameless commitment.
Right, like unforgiving.
Yeah,
I don't want that. Like, and yeah, we'd rather have a lot given to us, but also a lot of us do pretty well being supervisors, being managers, being CEOs, being business owners. My personal perspective on it, like, definitely a shameless commitment, definitely an unforgivable kind of thing, and somebody had made it okay for us to feel like that, to be like that. I think so as well. Same to the person who got three different jobs in a year.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. The longest I've had a job was a little over 2 years, but at the same time, it's like after getting so many jobs so frequently, I now understand stay for the while, not too long of a while to where you stop, progressing, but stay for the while. Stay long enough to see yourself change. Stay long enough to see yourself understand what you want even more, like. Even if it is building your hunger just a little more, like knowing like, yeah, this is really what I want. Like, test yourself. Test that urge and that need for something. Because some people run away from the supervisor role and accept being a team member. Some people take the supervisor role and accept being, like, that's their limit. That's the heights that they're willing to take. Most people don't want to know what it's like to be the general manager. They'll be a manager. They'll be above everyone else. But you're still a worker at that point. No one wants to be the person that's responsible for the entire building.
They don't like that, bro. I didn't watch a man